All right, here we go, Nick. It's a little different when you're not coming into a game. It's like, what do you say? What do you do? There's nothing to really illustrate that you just seen. There's nothing to be mad about. There's nothing to be extraordinarily happy about. Of course, I love my family and Thanksgiving's right around the corner and all those things I'm very thankful for. But I got to be honest, it's just a different vibe when you come into the old stream.
You don't need Pfizer. You need a martini.
That's right. That was an all-timer. I like that.
Shout out. I don't know who that is in the chat that put that in there, but that fired me up. That got me in the mood, in the spirit.
Yeah, it did. I also just realized that I'm wearing new headphones right now, and they're very noise canceling. I can barely even hear myself right now, which is it's actually a problem. So at some point in the show, I'm going to switch out those because that's just really playing. My brain is in a pretzel, as they say. We have some topics today, Nick. We have some topics. There's not been a whole lot. There's not been a whole lot of hot stove type stuff here for the Cincinnati Redlegs as of yet. As they always say, the best comes to those who wait. Patience is a virtue. All of those fancy sayings that people make up just to make you feel better about yourself when things aren't going your way. But Nick Senzel, can I make a joke about the tribute video or not? Hey, listen, I seen kind of like the little funny little spatting back and forth, just the fun little offseason talk between people. Listen, Nick Senzel, congratulations. He had a hell of a send-off. And, for all intents and purposes, I thought he deserved it.
We're really in the cold stove portion of the season when people are having passionate disagreements of did Nick Senzel get too much of a tribute video or not. That's where we're at.
Yeah, there's one thing that I knew for a fact when I watched that video. Is that social team or the video department, whatever their official name is, they have what we call folders that they put all of these things in. Because I have never seen someone be able to quickly turn around a video like that so fast and have all these really cool clips and all these random shots of my man Nick Senzel. And it just made me think, what does Jose Barrero's look like? I'd like to see his folder.
I mean, it's probably just that home run at Fenway Park. Maybe like 15 different angles of it.
It's a big time homer.
It was a huge homer.
It was a big time homer. Listen, I shout out Barrero, by the way. I think he's going to be the biggest bounce back player for the Cincinnati Reds going into next season. All right, Nick Senzel. We'll spend a little bit of time on him before we move into maybe a little more meatier topics, if that's the right word to say. But they officially said goodbye to him and a few others, Nick.
Yeah, Derek Law and Reaver San Martin. Law not crazy surprising. Law was, of course, non-tendered last year, so always a possibility he could find his way back. Pitched really well for the Reds this year. You got to give the guy a lot of credit. Not a whole lot of expectations. And then Reaver San Martin, he's hurt. Both guys I'd love to keep in the organization. Both guys that there's probably a possibility that they keep in the organization. Nick Senzel, assuming that he is for sure gone with the send-off that he got.
Yeah, no, he is. And I like I've said before, I think it's fair to Nick to give him another chance at a different place. And it wouldn't shock me a little bit, maybe. But it wouldn't be a huge surprise if he had a little bit of success. I mean, he's already proven that he can hit left-handers relatively well, and if he can figure out a way to kind of shore up his splits against right-handed pitching, then there's something that's serviceable there if you don't have very good depth in the infield, right? And that's the issue, if you want to call it an issue. I don't think it's an issue at all with the Cincinnati Reds, is that they have some depth in the infield, or at least they so think that they do. Therefore, guys like Nick Senzel, and before I segue right into the India talk, that's kind of where a lot of these decisions are being made from. They're being made from a place of perceived depth.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Senzel and the Jonathan India rumors are 100% the result of the play of Noelvi Marte, of Matt McClain, of the promise of Ellie De La Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand. I mean, that's why if Noelvi Marte didn't play as well as he did in September, it might be a totally different conversation with Nick Senzel right now. Maybe the same thing with Jonathan India, maybe one or the other. But it's really all about those guys and how promising that they have proved themselves in 2023.
They have, and there's a whole, like I said before, not to get into the weeds of prospects, because I do think, and I think that there's some merit to people that say, well, they're just prospects until they prove themselves. There's some truth to that. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you can blow off prospects and act like they mean nothing, because that clearly isn't the case. But until they come up and they prove themselves, they are just that. They are, they're aspiring major leaguers. And the one thing I was going to say to that is there is another crop, if you want to call it that, behind these guys as well. So it's not just depth of Noelve and certainly Ellie and obviously McLean and CES, but there's guys behind them as well. Maybe not this upcoming year, but certainly in 2025 and moving forward. So that's the thing that I'm most excited about this organization right now. And do I think that it's going to work out perfectly the way that we all intended and we planned it? I know for a fact it won't. I know for a fact it won't. And I even thought, and it was a little bit of a sad thought before I kind of came on tonight, I was thinking about the Reds and just the situation they're in. And, I'm not overly concerned about who it's going to be or anything like that, but one of these guys are going to end up being a disappointment, I mean, not that I need to name them all, but in general terms, Nick, you got, well, I don't want to say the guy behind the plate can be much more of a disappointment, but, between Stevenson, Noelve, Ellie, McLean, CES, TJ Friedel, Spencer Steer, and maybe you can say even Jake Fraley if he's still around, and I'm not suggesting he shouldn't be, but if you threw all those guys out there right now, I would argue at least probably two of those guys will be, I don't want to call it a severe disappointment, but a little disappointing. And I think that it's like, okay, who's going to replace those guys and or who might be behind them that will fill the void per se. And I think that's where maybe some of this hot stove stuff may kind of answer some of that.
Yeah, I think the Reds should still be looking to add offensively, but Nick Senzel's ceiling offensively is only so high. And honestly, the same thing probably with Jonathan India. Their ceiling's only so high. I think that, the masher types, the Jorge Solers, the Candelarios, those type of players kind of fit what the Reds are looking for more than Jonathan India and Nick Senzel, guys that have some good qualities, but aren't really just that big bat or that I don't know, that consistent bat is maybe the best way I could think of saying it.
That's fair. All right, Jonathan India, his name continues to get brought up, and here's the thing. This is going to sound weird to say, but we weren't on it first per se, but we were. This has been something we talked about for a long time. I think we were in Spaces almost a year ago at this time. Maybe it was even later. I don't know. We were on there for 3 hours up until 1 a.m. talking about Jonathan India. And I'm just to the point now where be a little bit cautious about what you're praying for or wishing for or pushing. It's like we are, and I say we, but a lot of this show and a lot of the people that we kind of would associate to say that, oh, these are relatively insightful people that follow the Reds, usually are folks that adore the idea of obtaining a lot of prospects and trying to win from within instead of feeling like you always got to go spend, because ultimately they can't win that way. That's not how this franchise is going to ultimately win. However, we are believers, and I'm speaking for you a little bit, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I know you won't, is that we believe in value as well, right? Like this isn't just you give anyone away because you get prospects back. The Jonathan India stuff sometimes, again, for me, is, I don't want to say getting out of hand, Nick, but it's like, I'm not just giving this guy away either, okay? You got to get something back in return. And just because you have perceived depth somewhere, we found out last year when you go into a season with something that you feel like you're 100% sure of, you could be made pretty quickly that you're completely wrong, and the starting pitching was a complete you-know-what show last year. And we thought going into the season that was literally the only thing that the Reds stood a chance on. So before we go out here, and I'm not suggesting that I'm you can't get rid of India, any of that. Obviously, I'm not. But I'm also opposed to the idea of saying, well, no matter what, just because we got depth at this area, let's just get rid of the guy. And if we kind of have to take a deal we're not very proud about. Let's just do it anyway so we can get it over with.
Yeah, let me read through the news and notes on India, because there's something in here that I think is actually really encouraging. Probably something a lot of people don't like, but I like out of this. So first off, the latest rumor from Jim Bowden and The Athletic reported the Reds and Red Sox. We have a concrete team that have had some trade conversations about India. So that's, I guess, the latest rumor. And then Nick Kroll also made some comments on India. This was kind of on the heels of Senzel. Basically, Kroll said, quote, "I wouldn't say we are motivated to trade India. If a deal comes around, we have to be open to anything, but just motivated to move players off your roster just because that guy might not fit. That doesn't make any sense." I think we were both in agreement there. But the comments that I really like, this is from Gordon Whitmire, the Inquirer. He reported the Reds would likely receive prospects back in an India trade rather than big leaguers, and there's an interest in Jeimer Candelario as a large series of moves. So I believe I said a while back, I think it makes more sense to trade India for lower level prospects. I know that's going to make some people mad, but I have a difficult time seeing a team that wants Jonathan India being willing to give up big leaguers. The team that wants Jonathan India is a trade and a win now move. It would be like the Reds trading for a starting pitcher, right? It right. Something they really need. You're not trading for Jonathan India because he's going to completely flip your whole roster. He's a guy that fits your piece, that can help you win right now. And so I love the idea of getting the most value, which I think would be lower level prospects. And there's nothing wrong with continuing to stockpile prospects, because prospects will fail. People that say that are 100% right. That's why you need a hell of a lot of them, because they're going to fail. You need to keep them coming. And then you use your free agency dollars to supplement whatever you get back in whatever you lose. And that could be like Jeimer Candelario. It's like it's like a perfect puzzle, in my opinion. You trade Jonathan India, you stock your farm system, you go and you sign Jeimer Candelario, and that all fits every piece of your team, from Major League all the way down to the Daytona Tortugas, better than it does right now.
Yeah, and the only thing I was going to add too about the win now mode, to be like last year. I mean, this isn't a perfect example, but it's kind of illustrating the point you're trying to make, is that if the Reds were going to try to make a trade for their starting pitcher last year, right, and the only option they were offering up to give back in return was like T.J. Friedl or Spencer Steer, it's like, we would all be like, well, what the hell are we doing here? We're giving away something that we really still need to win right now, but we're wanting to get something in return that helps us win right now. That's not how this works. So Jonathan India, like you said, is going to be someone that will come in and try to be a plug and play for a team that thinks they can win in the real very near future. Because again, if he is successful, then he's going to cost some money, especially if he's playing second base. And that's kind of the again, not a perfect apples to apples comparison there, but that's kind of what you're getting after with this whole situation with Jonathan India. And it all comes down to, and everyone's going to want to know, like, oh, what exactly do you want in return for him? It's just very, very hard to answer that until you kind of see a deal that's on the table. And the one thing that I've decided to do is just have, and it's not that I think the guy's perfect by any means, but he's earned a little bit of merit in my book, is Nick Kroll, in the sense that I'm going to have a little blind faith in this. Like if Nick Kroll makes a trade and I look at it, I might not love it, but I'm also not going to be super pissed off about it either, unless it's something completely ridiculous, and it won't be, because so far, if anything has been proven, Nick Kroll is pretty calculated in his decision making, and I don't think he doesn't let emotion kind of overcome him all that often, if ever. And I think he's made some bad signings from a free agent perspective. But when it comes time to making a trade, I think he's been pretty nails. So,
yeah, and I'm interested. I'm hoping that this free agency year can be a little bit different. The one thing that is a little bit different, as opposed to the last 2 years, is the Reds are a much more attractive team for free agents to come to. I mean, when you're going to the 2022 season, you just kind of blew up your roster a little bit. It's kind of hard to attract free agents. It was the same thing last year, but the Reds were the talk of baseball for about, 4-6 weeks. When they were on that 12-game win streak, the Reds are a fun team. So I think that is going for them. Now, that only goes so far. Everyone obviously is out for the best contract they can get, as they should be. But that's the one thing that I do think is a little bit different, at least this time around. But the thing with Nick Kroll, like there's been some trades, like I think the Sonny Gray trade I really loved at the time. I still really like Chase Petty, but that trade's kind of has lost its luster a little bit. But I'll never forget the one trade that everyone lost their ever-loving minds about has turned out to be one of the best trades the Reds have made in recent memory, and that was the trade that brought Brandon Williamson, Jake Fraley, and Connor Phillips. A trade that literally people lost their mind out for months. Like, Nick Kroll knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's going to miss. I think that's the other thing, too, is like Nick Kroll's going to miss. The question is that can he build up enough equity within this farm system that when he does miss, it's not the end of the world, right? Like the fact of the matter is that there's going to need to be a couple superstars on this team within this crop of players that we currently are watching. CES, McLean, Ellie, and Noelve. We need two of those guys to be superstar is a strong word, but we need two of those guys to be perennial, fringe all-stars and/or all-stars, right? And then from there, you start to build pieces around them. And hell, heaven forbid you hit three if you hit three of them, then you're in a whole different, you're on a whole different stratosphere. And at that point, you got a real chance. So, and I think we're all hoping for that. But again, I've said it before. If I told you last year that we were going to be trotting out 65 players, and we had a chance to make the postseason a week out, I mean, people wouldn't have believed me. So I'm not going to get head over heels believing that anything isn't possible or not possible, I should say. So I seen Randy in the chat. He is a loyal listener. He's upset right now that they have not made a move. The Reds haven't made a move. And I think, I don't know where many people stand right now on this whole thing. The truth is that there's a market that's going to get set, and the question is do you want to set the market, or would you rather wait and not overpay for something that you realize after the fact that the market just isn't what you paid for? I don't know how you feel about it. It's a risk either way, but the starting pitching market, at least we've gotten a little bit of movement, and the Cardinals obviously are trying to make maybe Reds fans a little bit impatient. I don't know if that's the right word, but
yeah, I mean, there's only been a couple signings so far. I mean, it's a long off season. We can kind of run through some of the notable ones so far. Aaron Nola, this one was a little bit more than I think most people expected. 7 years, $172 million. For a guy that did have an ERA at 4.46 last year, fielding into pitching just over 4. I mean, that's still a very, very valuable pitcher, especially at his age. But 7 years, $172 million. That is that's a chunk of change. And then the Cardinals, they were busy. Lance Lynn, 1 year, $10 million contract. Kyle Gibson, 1 year, $12 million contract. Cardinals, of course, they're just in a spot where they're absolutely desperate for starting pitching. Trace, I saw a lot of people kind of dunking on the Cardinals. I don't know if I'm in that camp. No. I don't think like I'd be throwing a parade for getting Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, but I think the Cardinals, like, they needed to do this. Like, they needed multiple starting pitchers. It'll be interesting to see how the market shakes out. We might look back in 2 months and be like, hey, you know what? Like, they got some steals, especially when you see that Nola contract. These other two contracts look a lot more favorable, right? I mean, 10 and 12 million for guys that I think have the potential to be league average starting pitchers isn't bad. Lance Lynn, I think he would have been a really tough fit in Cincinnati just with as many home runs as he gets. I kind of would have liked Kyle Gibson, especially at that price. He does have a pretty good ground ball rate, but it's a long off season. And like you said, it is tough to, be the team that sets the market. And I'm guessing the Cardinals kind of snuck up on some people with both of these deals as well.
It may be so. Neither one of them are really overly exciting, but at the same time, if they sign with the Reds, we'd probably be sitting here talking about how, Kyle Gibson back when he was 31 years old was a damn good pitcher. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, he's 36 now. But you never know. I mean, you just don't know. There's two schools of thought here, in my opinion, on some of this. Free agency, when it comes to well, I don't want to call them maybe medium-sized to smaller-sized deals, right? You're either going to get somebody that is on the back end of their career or somebody that has had a couple bad years, and you're hoping they can bounce back to form. Cody Bellinger-esque. I know he's definitely not a medium-sized deal. But Paul DeJong, another guy, right? The White Sox got for, I don't want to say next to nothing, but the White Sox got him for a low buy. But again, Paul DeJong's been not all that good. So what do you expect if you're a Cardinal fan? If you're a Cardinal fan, or do you think that changes a whole lot going into next year? If you do, you're probably a little too optimistic.
I don't think it doesn't make them but again, look at their rotation right now. It's Miles Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, Steven Matson, Zach Thompson. That's their updated rotation. So they were a long ways away. So I think if you're a Cardinals fan, you're saying, okay, these moves are great if you go get Sonny Gray on top of that, or fill in whoever else is up at the top. I think they still, if they're trying to contend next year, they still need to get another starter. But you have to have 5. Well, and I've said before, you have to have more like 8 or 9 to get through a year. So these are depth moves. This is people are viewing, I think, Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn as oh, those guys aren't that good. Okay, well, those guys are replacing innings that you were getting from guys like Jake Woodford, right? Or in the Reds case, fill in the guys of Luis Sessa, or Connor Overton. That's kind of the innings that those guys are most likely replacing. So again, I think for the Cardinals, it made sense to go out and jump, and the last thing the Cardinals could afford would be to be overly patient and the starting pitchers just get gobbled up and they're panicking and they're having to drastically overpay. The Cardinals are in a much different situation than the Reds. The Reds need to add a starting pitcher. I fully believe that. But the Reds could go into opening day with the starting pitching they have now and have a chance. The Cardinals, they couldn't go into opening day with the starting pitching they had right now and have any sort of chance. They had to. They had no choice.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, the Reds, and that's the fear that maybe some fans have, is they think that the Reds can sit back and say, well, look at us, we're good, we don't need anybody, and they're going to be proverbial quote unquote cheap, or they're not going to go and spend the money that this fan base deserves and all those things. And I'm not downplaying any of those thoughts that people may have about that specific subject, because there's no doubt that you have to spend some money to win in this league. It's not possible to go and perfectly get every prospect there is, have them all on pre-arbitration deals and or just arbitration deals, and think you're going to win a World Series. Nobody believes that. The question that I have that people might want to crush me for, and you know what? At this point, what's it matter? Just I'll speak it how I actually feel, and if you don't like me because I'm going to say this, so be it. I don't think the Reds are really in a position right now where I want them to take super risky deals, because I'm not convinced wholeheartedly that this team is nut cutting ready. I just don't think they're ready. I don't think they're ready quite yet to win the whole damn thing. I hope soon. But let's not kid ourselves a little bit on what we are as a franchise and a roster right now. Okay? I know we all love the Reds, and I know it sounds like I'm always pushing the can, or I'm moving the goalpost, right? Oh, look at you. You're a shill for the front office. You're a shill for the organization. You're always making excuses for him. Look at him. He's already setting the trap that if this was a disappointing season. No. I'm just saying, we had Noel Marte come up at the end of the year. He played a month of baseball, and yeah, he was pretty damn good. But you know what? He played a month of baseball. I don't know how good he is. I mean, he looks good. Don't know how good he is. Ellie, to be honest with you, at times looked like the best baseball player on planet Earth, and then there was times where he looked like he probably wasn't going to be able to be on a roster and or in the lineup for the Chattanooga Lookouts when they tried to win their little Golden Cup or whatever they were after in Double-A. Then you have Matt McLain, who I think is very, very, very good. I believe that Matt McLain is a stud, but you know what? Not that long ago, he was hitting like 220 in Chattanooga. And then you have a guy like CES that, like it or not, I don't know, he kind of came out of nowhere a little bit, And next thing you know, he's just now, I guess he's going to replace Joey Votto. You know, we got TJ Friedl in center field. You got Spencer Steer, who again, I love him, but hopefully you get my point. And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I'm just saying, like, I don't want us to go spend a crazy amount of money on a starting pitcher for like a 1 or 2 year deal. When I'm like, again, I go back to my brain and say, okay, I don't want to say save it because people think that, oh, whatever, save money. When it's time, it's time. And I want to make sure that when it is time, Nick, we do overspend maybe a little bit on a guy that we think we need in the starting pitching market and or whatever hole we might have going into whatever offseason I think that we're ready. And I don't think this is the offseason. I know people hate me for it, kill me for it. I'm not saying they can't make the playoffs and they can't make the World Series. I just would say their over-under is probably going to be like 81 wins.
Yeah, I'm all for them overspending on a short-term deal. I just don't like obviously Aaron Nola wasn't going to sign with the Reds. Like he pretty clearly, I think, wanted to go back to Philadelphia. But I would not want the Reds to sign that kind of deal. I would not want the Reds to have that much money committed 7 years out on a starting pitcher. I just don't think that's a good strategy for the Reds to have any sort of long-term success. I would rather the Reds go lock up the Reds could go lock up their entire farm system of starting pitchers for that amount of money, right? It'd be like Hunter Green locked him up was $50 million. You got a couple extra years. Like, go ahead and lock up like Graham Ashcraft and Connor Phillips, and if Nick Lodolo proves he can be healthy, like lock those guys up as opposed to going out and getting going that deep into a guy that's going to be 37 years old at the end of his deal.
You know what would really, I don't want to say piss people off. I don't think that'd be the right word to use, but what would be a wild move that I actually would endorse would be, I would try to get some people while they're vulnerable, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to see what Nick Lodolo wants. Hey, Nick, what do you want? Like, what what do you want to take a risk here, or do you want to be a multimillionaire? Like, do you want to be a multimillionaire, or do you want to take a chance where you blow your arm out again next year and you're never going to get not a big contract because they make decent money, but you get my point. You're not going to be a multimillionaire. That's the kind of game I'd be playing. But
I tell you, I Connor Phillips is a sneaky one because I don't think a lot of people realize just how young he is, and he's just scratching the big league surface. He would be a guy that this offseason I would maybe I might have him honestly above Ashcraft. I know people might think that's crazy, but you just at the age of how young he is and the fact that you could extend him to an 8-year deal, and I think he would only hit like 30 at the end of it. He's one that I think would be a sneaky good contract.
All right. You have a new prospects list, a new one.
Well, I don't. Baseball America released it this week, so I just thought I'd kind of run through it. I don't have a whole lot of takes on it other than one thing that kind of stood out to me. But the Baseball America top 10, Noelvi Marte number 1. He obviously will be off of that list pretty shortly in 2024. Rhett Lauder, yep. The top pick, all the way up to 2. Connor Phillips at number 3. Edwin Arroyo 4. Chase Petty 5. Carlos Jorge 6. Sal Stewart 7. Leonardo Balcazar 8. Alfredo Aduno 9. And then the most surprising, Cam Collier at 10. And I love this. I love that these bastards ranked Cam Collier 10 because he's gonna have a fire lit under him. I'm telling you, I love that. That's ridiculous. Like, Cam Collier is not your 10th best prospect. The guy was like 18 years old playing in low A ball, and he was okay. Like, if he was that highly regarded a year ago, dropping him down to 10th is ridiculous. He's gonna make people look silly for that ranking.
Cam Collier is probably still young enough to care about stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he probably does pay attention to that. Maybe not. I mean, some kids are a little more mature than others.
He tweeted about it. He tweeted something. I don't remember what he tweeted. It was something shady back at it.
All right. I don't hate that. Well, Rhett Lauder, he was at 2. All Our good friend Evan in the chat, obviously, he thought that was bogus. I wouldn't say quite yet that that's bogus, just because, listen, man, you see guys like, I don't know, Andrew Abbott's a pretty decent example. Guys that are veteran arms in high major programs that have had success at high major programs, I think, are a little farther along than maybe people would lead you on to believe. We got the question on Twitter the other day, and I just threw a shot in the dark. I think the kid has a chance to make the big league club if he's unbelievable. But do you think Rhett Lauder starts like on a lower level, like I was thinking in my mind, to take some pressure off of him, or do you think that they're just going to let it rip and put this kid, I don't know, would they start him in AAA per se? And we got some pretty depth at starting pitching based off what they do in the offseason too. I know that plays a little bit of a factor.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Andrew Abbott started at Dayton. I know, Lauder's a little, obviously a higher pick than Abbott was. I don't know. They might start him at Chattanooga. I wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked if Rhett Lauder makes a start in 2024. I would honestly, if I put the odds at like 40% that he does. I think it's pretty high. Right. I think he'll make a big league start before Chase Petty, and I'm a huge Chase Petty guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to see him throw, man. Why? It's like you sit here and throw caution to the wind to a certain extent and just start saying crazy stuff on here. But the reality is I a good arm in college. Danny Graves loves Rhett Lauder. Thinks Rhett Lauder was the best arm in the entire draft, and that included Paul Skeens, who everybody was just drooling over. Like this guy throws 195 miles an hour. He's going to be unbelievable. It's like, all right, well, we'll see. Good luck, Pittsburgh.
I love Danny Graves, but Danny Graves was also working for the ACC network, so he might have a little bit of bias.
No bias
on Lauder, just a tad over Skeens. But hey, if he's 75% as good as Skeens, I think the Reds are going to be in great shape.
You think Skeens? You think Skeens is a slam dunk?
I think he's pretty close.
We'll see. Listen, guys that rely on straight power. Go ahead.
Pittsburgh better pray he is. I'm
not saying I've watched a ton of tape on Paul Skeens. I'm just saying that when I have watched him pitch, he's not as polished, I don't think, as like Rhett Lauder is, where I think Rhett Lauder might be able to pitch longer. But I don't know, I might make a fool of myself. It's just those guys that are super, super high velo guys that have to rely on that. They're not far off of having some issues. You know what I'm saying? And or the guys in the big leagues aren't college kids. So, and I know that you could say the same about Rhett throwing to the same type of hitters because they're in college as well. So I don't know. I guess I'm saying I'm not as high on Mr. Skeens as everybody else is, but that's here nor there. Anything else that you want to add from that list? I know this is a relatively shorter show tonight, but we do have Thanksgiving coming up here, Nick.
Yeah, nothing else from that list. I did have one more thing before we get to some big news.
That's right, big news.
There was a lot of other players non-tendered. I did put this out on the old X app, but this is the Nick Kirby non-tender wish list. Some of the players that I saw that I really liked. I would love for the Reds to take a flyer on Kyle Lewis. He's a guy that's battled injuries, but he's a guy that I think would fit perfectly as a platoon player in the outfield for the Reds with some upside. Could obviously really play well at Great American Ballpark. I like him. I would love for the Reds to take a flyer on Brandon Woodruff. Go ahead and give him like that 2-year deal. Let him rehab with the Reds. Maybe you get lucky and he could help you in like September next year. If not, you get some value in 2025. I think the Reds need to be all in on those kind of value type. I wouldn't say lottery ticket because Brandon Woodruff was kind of weird to say as a lottery ticket, but I really like him. Josh Stallman and Trevor Gott, 2 relievers that I really like that were non-tendered. And then Juan Yepes. He's a guy that I really, really like. He absolutely dominated throughout the minor leagues, but just never figured out the big leagues with the Cardinals. I'd love to take a Cardinals player that was highly thought of and turn him into a big slugger with the Reds. But those were a couple players that really kind of stood out to me from the non-tenders. Anyone on there, Trace, that you kind of would like?
No. I just see everybody spamming the chat with Jacob Hurtubise. I don't know if you want us to talk about him. What it is exactly about Jacob Hurtubise that you want from me? Listen, it's a great story. Kid's 26 years old. I hope and pray that we find this Wes Welker of the Patriots. That would be unbelievable. I'm not rooting against it. But Jacob Hurtubise is what it is. I mean, he's a guy that came from nowhere. No one's expecting this guy. He wasn't any on top prospects. He played at Army, and with all due respect, the guy gets on base, and you know what? We like that around here. We just celebrated a man that we all love because specifically he got on base. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Jacob Hurtubise does. But again, I don't know what else you want me to say outside the fact that I'm praying and hoping that we catch some random superstars, a strong word. We catch some great major league player.
I see some people in the chat, and I was literally just thinking the exact same thing. I think Blake Dunn is definitely a better version of Jacob Hurtubise with the speed. I think he's got some legit power. But look, Hurtubise is the exact kind of player you want to start the season at AAA, because I feel like Hurtubise's floor is going to be like a fine big league player. Like, he's probably going to be able to hit at least league average. He's going to be able to play good defense. He's going to be able to run. He's the perfect guy that you ship back and forth. And guess what? You can do that for 3 years with him, because he hasn't done it yet. So, like, he could be your next guy that, goes up and down. Like, we've seen with some other guys. And that's fine. Like, you need those guys to get through a year, so you're not calling up guys that are clearly not big leaguers that have no business being on a field. I don't think Hurtubise is going to embarrass you. Like, he's going to be fine. So I'm all for him, and I hope he actually is like a legit big, he comes up and is the next like TJ Friedel. I didn't see what happened out of TJ Friedel happening, so it's certainly possible. But I think we should probably view him as this depth guy, and that's great. You need those.
Correct. You do need those. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's no doubt that there's, again, depth. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. If the one thing I hope never happens again, and I know it's going to with this franchise, is I really hope we don't keep just latching on to these prospects or latching on to one or two guys and they're able to just play mediocre or below average baseball for 2, 3, 4 years because we're just going to run them out there, And I don't want to say I know that's not going to happen, but I do know that if you have a lot of depth and you have a lot of guys knocking on the door, that probably is going to lend itself to happen less and less and less. And of course, the top prospects are always going to get a little more leash than others. But hey, I'm hopeful that we catch that diamond in the rough. Is that the right term to use there? I don't know. But the chat's popping tonight. By the way, we got a lot of people in here. A lot of people we're all over the place. I would love to have a chat poll question of the day. I don't know if you have one, Nick, that we can throw in there really quickly. Jason Fossler shout outs as always. Good for him. Anything else you want to add before we get to the big news?
No, not that I can think of. Trying to think of a poll question. I don't know. Is there maybe someone? Maybe we could do like who would you rather sign? Maybe do something like that. Let's
throw it. Give me 2 names.
Let's pull up the free agent starting pitcher. We already got that graphic ready. Let's do kind of the lower ones. Let's do Lugo, Waka, Severino, and Wade Miley. You get 4 options. Is that what you're at?
Yep.
Lugo, Waka, Severino, Miley.
Wade.
The old dog.
Yeah. Can't believe that guy still. I mean, that's just amazing. All right. Chat poll question is up, everybody. Have fun. Vote away. This is a democracy.
I got to think who I would pick. I think I'd go Waka.
Yeah, I'll take a Waka.
But I do like the idea of a Severino project because this guy like 2 years ago was a really, really good pitcher.
Yeah.
I know we don't like the term projects, especially with pitchers after, a few maybe misfires of late.
Listen, I like I like people that throw a lot of innings, or at least a decent amount of innings. Okay, Walker's thrown 126, 124, 127, 134, and
And I believe he had some relief appearances in there also, right? I think he got moved to the, I might be wrong on that. So I feel like those innings might also be misleading in some years. Like I feel like he might have actually. No, he didn't.
No.
2019 he did. He made 5 appearances out of the bullpen. Maybe that
was with the Mets. I mean,
not a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, listen, none of them are going to be like getting like I don't know. None of them are like getting Verlander or something. Now Verlander's a little older, so I'm trying to take that back a little bit, but you get my point. All right, big news. We'll get into it. We'll do some big news stuff here. All right, so here's the deal. We are going to launch Chatterbox Reds at the new year. Okay, it is going to be right at the new year. We're going to launch it largely for 2 reasons. 2 reasons. Ready? Number 1 is because I want to make sure that we can get as many people as we possibly can that are going to provide good content and have that content kind of ready to go, per se, when we open the doors. The second thing is that we only have 50 spots, like I said before, for the season ticket package, and you get 8 tickets that come with this. You get access to the content all year long, and the content, like I said before, I'm not joking when I say this, it's going to be the number 1 place you can go to find Reds content, whether it be minor league stuff that you're interested in, whether it be some analytics stuff that you're interested in, or whether it just be funny, we'll call them blogs if you're interested in that as well. There's going to be everything under the sun. And you know what? This isn't closed doors either. Like, I'm going to reach out to some people that, hey, probably don't believe the same things we believe. And, if that means I have to write blogs making fun of our own people, then I will do that. But I want there to be as many people as we can that tell the full story on what the Reds franchise is doing or not doing, or what the heartbeat of the fan base is. So that's the goal, and that's the plan. And like I said before, I'm going to do my best to execute on that plan. The second thing that I do, like I said, I want to make sure that we're all aware of is that it is going to be, I think, I should know this, but I'm going to pull it up to make sure. It is 4 payments, or maybe it's 5 payments. I better shut up. I'm going to pull it up on the website here in a second to know. I want to say, we did the math. We're breaking even on the tickets. I think it's like $240, and you get 8 tickets. And here's the crazy thing. You are guaranteed playoff tickets. So your boy here, I'm not saying I'm smart all the time, but I kind of was smart here. We got 6 total tickets, and instead of putting them on one account, I put them underneath 3 different accounts. What does that mean? Why does that matter, you might ask? Well, that means we get 3 playoff, I think they call them ticket strips, right? 3 playoff ticket strips. 8 tickets per strip to every single game in the playoffs. What does that mean? That means if you're a part of the group, then you're guaranteed to get an opportunity to go to at least 2 games. At least 2 games. Now, obviously, you're going to get to pick the games that you want to go to, and it's going to be a draft, and that's how it's going to always be. It's going to be a snake draft to make it as fair and equitable as we possibly can. But my point is I'm hopeful, if nothing else, you do 2 things for us. 1, you're a part of the community, and all that's great. You can help make sure that we didn't bankrupt our company because we bought all these season tickets and then nobody buys them. That's number 1. Number 2 is that we can support Nick Kirby, right? So for those that don't know, Nick Kirby's joining us January 1, which probably isn't really January 1 because the holiday and all that. I don't know when the actual official date would be. Maybe it's January 2nd. I don't know. But you get the point. He will be joining on. And the goal is the more revenue we can create from this, the more content we can start to push towards Chatterbox Reds. And we're going to try to build it up as much as we possibly can. Obviously, there's a limit to it. We're certainly not going to turn into Netflix and be doing documentaries every 5 seconds on them because we've making so much money. But that's the goal in mind. And my ultimate goal, if we're being honest with you, is if we can raise enough revenue from Chatterbox Reds, I would like to get a beat writer. I would really like to get a beat writer. So me and Nick stay the same, but I'd really like to get somebody that travels with the team. And of course, we have to get credentials and all those things. But I just believe in my heart of hearts that if we get to the point where I think we're going to get to, that won't be an issue. We'll find out. I mean, if it is, then I guess we just won't have a beat writer. But if it's not, then we'll have one. So that's the goal. That's the goal. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that's the goal. And like many people, maybe Nick, when you're sitting around the dinner table and you're telling your family you're going to start something called Chatterbox Sports, they're like, well, what is that? And I think that there's an opportunity within digital media, blah, blah, blah. Many of you maybe are looking at me like I got 4 eyes and I'm an idiot, but I'm just saying there's a small chance that it works out. And the next thing you know, we have the biggest fan-funded media that covers the Cincinnati Reds. And that's the only way, I'm going to tell you right now, that's the only way to get unbelievable content anymore. I'm going to tell you right now, paying for clicks, free ads on I don't say free ads, but writing articles that are for free, it's going to lead to shit like Gordon Wittenmeyer writing stuff that just makes no sense sometimes, and they got to get clicks. Now, I love Gordon, but Gordon plays the game. So if you're tired of stupid people writing stupid clickbaity stuff, well, they're not stupid. They're writing it because they need your clicks because they're trying to pay the bills, which is just a dumb way of going about it anymore, right? Like, can we all agree if I pay $10 a month towards something I really, really love and it goes to fund people that actually write stuff that makes, logical sense, and we don't have to play this dumb game anymore of, well, I got to get people to click on my article. Let me write some crazy shit. Watch this. I feel like that's what he does, but, give him credit. Maybe not. I don't know. I know he's got a Cubs podcast he's got to attend to too, so maybe time's tough. Maybe he gets too busy, but Nick's uncomfortable now because Trace is saying stuff. But anyways, hopefully all that makes sense to everybody, and I love all of you for listening to that. Anyways, you got big news, Nick. Bigger news than maybe what I just said.
Well, we got some other news. So Reds Fest, we will be I will be co-hosting with Justin Kinner and ESPN Dayton. They're going to have a table at Reds Fest. Going to have some players coming up to interview. So I believe there'll be a spot where people that are at Reds Fest can sit and watch that live. I believe that they're going to air that live on ESPN Radio Dayton. And then we're going to be able to hopefully take those interviews and then put them up on YouTube later. So yeah, we'll be a part of Reds Fest. So hope that everyone who's out there, we can stop by and say hi and see that in action. So yeah, really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I also sent a message to the Reds, and I don't know if I got an email back from the guy about those Reds Fest tickets. But like I said, as soon as I get them, I know that there's some people that want them. I will give them all the way. Should have them. I don't know why. I looked at my MLB app. They're not in there. I don't know. Who knows? It's probably to be fair to the Reds, it probably did get an email about it. It's in my spam or somewhere. Who knows? But I did give it a fair effort. I gave it a fair effort, Nick, to try to find him, and I couldn't find him, and I just gave up after like 10 minutes. So they're somewhere out there.
And Reds are more keep you on the toes. They're gonna make that like a week before. They'll send them all to you.
Highly doubt it. All right, Lugo, 35%.
Lugo's our leader. Lugo's the leader of men.
Yep, leader of men. 35%. Waka 33%. Severino is 19%, and Wade Miley, everybody's seen enough. 14%.
Wow. I would have thought Wade would have been higher. People were distraught when the Reds traded him.
They didn't trade him though, did they? They got rid of him. They just let him go. That was kind of a bad move. That was a little bit of a bad move.
Did they trade him?
No, I feel like they just let him go, man. They let him go.
I think
they just let him go, Nick. They let him go. I feel like they let him go, and they could have traded him. I feel like they could have traded him. Yeah, they could have traded him, but they just let him go.
Okay.
Put it this way, there was a team option. I think first of all, let's be honest. The fact that I even think I have an idea of this and you don't know is mind-boggling. I feel like I'm going to go do cartwheels here in a minute because I don't know anything about the Reds in the past. After 12 months from now, I know nothing. Besides the fact of obviously back when, I don't know. I won't even bring it up because it's a bad memory. But I'm pretty sure there was a team option for Wade Miley. The team decided they were just going to let him go, and they could have signed him for what they owed him, and then traded him away because I feel like he signed with the Cubs. No, was it the Cubs? He signed with somebody for more money than what the Reds could have offered him. I could be wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong.
I don't think it was more. The weird thing was him and Barnhart were like right at the same time. They traded Barnhart so they didn't have to pick up the option, and they saved some money by basically salary dumping him because they traded him for a nobody. And then Wade Miley was like the exact same day. Those were or they were like back-to-back days.
Yeah, Alex Wallace in the chat is giving us some clear info. He said on November 5th of 2021, selected off waivers by the Chicago Cubs from the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, so they did. I knew they didn't have to pay that option. They got out of it. Yeah, so it wasn't a trade, but the Cubs picked up his contract.
Maybe so. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot of things, but I do know that I felt like that was a little goofy.
Yeah.
Man, there's some things that we need to do. One, everybody's making fun of my mic stand. It just falls. I can't figure. I'll figure it out. Okay, I'll figure it out. Also, we'll do an outro. I promise. We'll make it clean here, so Nick Kirby can have a nice podcast. We're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to dig into the graphic package. Probably come up with a whole new graphic package. Are we gonna do all offseason with the fact that the Cincinnati Reds and the Washington Nationals are on the top of the first inning with nobody outs? Because there's no other option. To be fair to you, there's no other option. It's like, okay, we probably could do something else. People are asking in the chat if I'm doing off the bench tomorrow. Nope, didn't get 100 likes. I'm not doing it. I'm a man of my word. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody wants to be. It's not your fault, Alex. I know it's not your fault, but I'm just saying. When I say something, it's like with my kids. I can't say, "Hey, we need." What in the hell, Michael? Come on, bro.
This dude just comes out and just boom. Michael Rolfe. What a guy.
Dude, I'm going to cry or something. I mean, what the hell, man? He's going to come in here and throw $100 super chat, dude. Michael Rolfe is officially the most wealthiest man that watches this show, and it's not even close. I think you could add up half our viewers and add up to Michael.
I hope he is. I hope he is wealthy.
Regardless, even if you're not wealthy, I don't care if you're wealthy or not. Even if you were a billionaire, I could give a damn, Michael, because I'm going to tell you right now, that is very generous of you. He says 100 for Christmas decorations. I am winning my city decoration contest, ride or die, baby. I've missed you guys. Damn,
Michael, do you have a company? Do you want to put an ad up? I think you've earned an ad spot. We can bump out that scorebook and put Michael Rolfe right there.
Oh man. Yeah, as always, shout out to DSC as well. Deep South Commodities. Yeah. Appreciate John, as always. But Michael, unbelievable. Evan.
Oh, Evan.
Evan with a beautiful super chat. Says trade India, respect Nick Lodolo. Yeah, we will. We'll do that. Michael, come on, man. It's got me off track, got me out of my element here. I got to tell you one last thing. Being genuinely honest about this. If you have any interest at all in doing the Chatterbox Reds, you ready for me? I'm going to tell you the cost right now. I'm going to look it up as we speak. Nick might have to buy me some time. But anyways, I'll get to it and then I'll give you the price. But here's the thing: it's going to go on sale. It's going to go on sale on Black Friday. I'm going to give all the people that are loyal viewers of this show. I'm going to put it in the shop. I'm not going to promote it. Okay? I'm going to put it in the shop. I'm not going to promote it. The reason I'm doing that is because if you genuinely watch our content and you want to be a part of it, I wanted you to get first dibs. But right around the start of the new year, we're going to promote it to the masses and try to sell that thing out. Fair? Is that fair? Okay. Fair.
Let's go.
I will, like I said, I'm going to log in now and I'm going to find out the price because I feel like I should know this. But when you do so many things in a day, Nick, you just forget stuff.
So Sunday, is it this Sunday that you guys are doing the Bengals
We are, yeah.
pregame?
Yeah, we're going to be at the Banks. We're going to be at the Banks. I think we're going to start the show. The plan is to start the show at 11. We might push it back to 11:15 based off of weather. If it looks like it might rain in the morning, we're going to wait until the day of to kind of make a final decision on that. We're going to try to go live on YouTube. I know some people asked. We're going to try to go live on YouTube at 11 a.m. on Sunday. It just all comes down to internet. I got to be honest with you guys. If we don't have internet down there, it's really hard, believe it or not, to do internet shows. We tried a hotspot down there before, and it does okay. But as soon as a bunch of people get down there, then it starts to get a little flaky. And like the government, this is a joke, but behind every joke's a little bit of truth. Like the government, they have free Wi-Fi down there, but like most things that the government does, it just wasn't kind of thought all the way through. So there's not as many kind of Wi-Fi. I don't want to say what are they called? Routers or Wi-Fi routers, I guess is the right term to use down there. So sometimes you're connected, you get good signal, and sometimes it won't connect. But that's here nor there. I don't want to make fun of free Wi-Fi, but it'd be kind of cool. One day, you think, Nick? I think one day when we're probably old and being made fun of by the youngsters, I'm assuming that there's going to be Wi-Fi no matter what, everywhere you could turn. You think that's going to happen?
I would think so. Yeah, it'd be like maybe you'll have a signal on your head or something that'll transport it.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
Trace, I sent you a DM. I know you got a million things going on. I sent you a DM.
Yeah.
Just saw this scroll across my timeline. I think that the folks need to see it. If you can pull up the old video.
Okay, I will do that.
Noelvi Marte is apparently playing winter ball. I didn't even know this. I guess I should be paying attention to these things. And
fair enough.
Is smoking doubles. I mean, I think that that's the kind of thing people need to see on this Thanksgiving week. Is Noelvi Marte? I believe that's Logan Allen that he hit that off of. I think he's a pretty good prospect in the Guardian system.
You think so? All right, I got it right here. Coming right up.
He's not that wrong, Allen.
What's that?
Wrong, Allen. He's not good.
And that ball's pissed on.
La pelota está en el canal, va lo más profundo.
Love this. Great announcing.
Marte y está llegando allí. Hit Vanesco, estamos contigo y un doble.
¡Doble!
Marte en su noche de debut. Arrancan bien los gigantes en este primer episodio.
Qué manera de debutar, ¿verdad? Con doble. Él conectó solo un doble en su debut en la temporada 2021-2022. Este es tu segundo en su séptimo juego ya.
Pantalla de 85 pulgadas. Batazo de
see it one more time if you haven't seen it.
La pelota está en el
Isn't
canal,
that swing just so pretty?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the only thing that outshines that is the commentary. I thought everything they said there was absolutely exquisite, perfectly well stated. Couldn't have said it better myself. Vuelve Marte doble. Your thoughts?
Vuelve Marte. Yeah. Logan Allen, that was off of a guy that has pitched in the majors. He was a prospect at one point. He had a 4.5 ERA in AAA last year, but hey, still,
All right, it is. I finally got it. I'm sorry that it took me this long to find it. I'm terrible at doing my job, to be honest with you, for not knowing this right offhand, but it is 4 payments. Ready for it? It is 4 payments of $49. 4 payments of $49 or 1 payment for $195.
There you go.
8 tickets, a full year worth of great Reds content. Hopefully you like that. If you want to be a part of that, it is going to be on our website. We're going to be running a huge We're going to be running a huge Black Friday sale and Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday. So it's basically going to run all weekend. We're going to have a ton of Chatterbox merch on there. It's going to be 50% off. And like I said before, we're basically going to break even. I don't know why we do this stuff, but we do it anyways. We're going to basically break even, but we're trying to get our merch out there to as many people that want it as possible. It is 4 payments of $49, 1 payment of $195. And as I said before, it will be on the website. You'll see it. You won't be able to miss it. It'll be on there underneath digital products, and you'll be able to see it. So if you have any questions, as always, shoot me a DM, shoot me a message. And of course, now we have some more super chats from, of course, Michael Rolfe. What time Sunday? I'm going to the game. I'll come do an interview. I'm no billionaire. I put money towards people and causes I believe in. Thank you, Michael. We love you, man. We love everybody, for real. Not a joke. Michael, we will be down there. Like I said, 11 o'clock is what time we will be going live. We'll probably be set up by around 10. So if you're down there before 11, you can come say hi. We'll probably be down there from 10 till 12:30. Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to get back on track. I think they're going to beat the Steelers. And I know everybody's down and out, but I think they're going to beat the Steelers.
I mean, this party's just because of your guy, right? Starting a quarterback?
Yeah, it's somehow turned into my guy. I don't understand how that's turned into my guy, but you know what? I'll take it. I'm just a guy that's trying to stick up for people that haven't gotten opportunities in life that might be better than what people expect them to be. And you know what? That just might be Jake Browning. And if it's not, don't crucify me. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I got bullied into basically being a Jake Browning stan, and just like you got bullied into being a Fairchild kind of guy, then you know what? You just at some point you roll with it. You just gotta keep going.
I think I softened you up all year. I think
maybe
I wore you down, man. 162 of these.
You know what's funny is there's only 2 times this year that I remember saying something that when I got off there, I thought, man, you know what? Like that's how I know I'm invested. One was the Sunday in Oakland. That was just I was pissed off that day. That was ridiculous. That was the worst lineup in the history of lineups you could possibly put out there. And then I was at the Brass Band Festival, and you were trying to give Stuart Fairchild love, and I just said he sucked. I was tired of him. And if you know what we're talking about right now, that means you've watched this show a lot. You've watched this show a lot. Joey loves VQS with a $10 super chat. Said this offseason is gonna be interesting, to say the least. It is. There's a lot of different ways this team can go. But as always, Nick Kirby has the offseason calendar. December 1st and 2nd, as a reminder, Reds Fest, Nick Kirby is going to be there. And he's going to be probably chopping it up with some big leaguers, if I had to guess. Who knows who comes over to the table? You never know. Maybe it'll be Nick Krall himself in the flesh. Nick Kirby with Nick Krall. A little what we call Nick on Nick crime, everybody. December 4th through the 6th is the winter meetings. December 5th, the MLB draft lottery. December 6th, the Rule 5 draft. And January 12th, arbitration salary deadline. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, you're coming to Reds Fest, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to come down there. I'm going to try to help you out if you need some help. But yeah, I plan on going down there. I'm definitely going to take my kids down there just because I think that's kind of I don't want to say that's what the event is, because that makes it sound like if you're an adult, you can't consume the things that are going on down there and have fun. But I do think it's an excellent opportunity if you have young children to give them an opportunity to go have fun, run around, kind of see some stars, and it's a good time. I really did enjoy Reds Fest, and again, I was sad to see it go for a little bit, COVID, but hey. It's back. Better than ever is what I hear.
I'm excited. I think it'll be really cool this year. Last year it was nice. It was back, but I mean the vibes weren't right. The vibes weren't high. The vibes are definitely a lot right. Higher now, and but yeah, I mean the winter meeting's coming up. I mean I think we're gonna start really seeing some at least a lot of rumors. I mean, I'm not gonna say there's gonna be like deals or anything, but we'll start seeing a lot of interesting stuff, and we'll definitely plan some more content, when we get around the winter meetings, and keep close tabs on all that stuff.
Michael is very, very smart, and that's why he probably makes more money than I do. He asked where, because that's important too. I do keep saying the banks. We are legit right there. So it is Spencer Marion Way. I don't know if you don't know your roads down there. That's perfectly fine. But it is the intersection that is basically right where the barricade basically starts, heading towards Great American Ballpark, the opposite side of the Holy Grail. I don't know all of the names, but we're basically right across the street from the Yard House, and we're right next to Ruth Chris, I think is the name of that steakhouse. We are right there. It'll be hard to miss us because we'll have our big video board out there, and we'll have our stage. We'll have a big Betfred tent, I'm sure, sitting somewhere around us. But we'll be down there, baby. Hopefully there's a decent crowd. I hope people didn't give up on the Bengals too soon here.
That's Steelers, right? I mean, people be excited for that, right?
That's right. One thing I hope this did prove, though, I really do hope that we've gotten past the idea of making fun of the other franchise when one franchise is down.
Yeah.
I mean, we put out a poll last year, and I know this is crazy, but we put out a poll last year, and the poll question was, will the Bengals win a Super Bowl or the Reds win one playoff game? Which one will come first? And everybody, of course, overwhelmingly was making fun of the idea of the Reds winning a playoff game. And it's like, I mean, things change quickly, man. You never know. Hopefully we don't have to do that stupid song and dance again. People making fun of that, nobody cares about opening day. Only everybody cares about the NFL draft. And the next thing you know, we're going to be talking about how nobody cares about who knows what, the NFL draft, and we only care about the Reds. It's like, we can all coexist here. We can all coexist. All right. Well, it is somehow, I don't know how or why we do these things, but somehow we've done like an hour and 10-minute show on something we didn't even,
30 minutes, right, Trace?
Yeah, we'll just be, I told my wife, we'll be done in 30 minutes. It's probably because I just blabber on, say a bunch of stuff I don't know. Nick, tell Michael to stop. Tell him to stop. Michael. Stop. Please, Michael. You make me feel bad.
Top BA by a player. Top batting average.
Yeah.
We'll answer your question, Michael. Top batting average by a Reds player. Probably Matt McClain. I mean, that's feels safe, right? Is there any? TJ Friedel. Yeah, TJ Friedel.
Who's going to have the top batting average for the Reds this year?
I mean, I think it's Friedel or McClain.
Noelvi Marte.
Highest batting average. Okay.
You think I'm crazy for that?
I mean, a 280 batting average in Double-A. I don't.
And so Matt McClain had your big guy that you're touting about hit 220 in Double-A. Nick, what about my guy? My guy hit 280. What'd your guy hit? Just curious.
That is true.
All right. Yeah.
It's probably Friedel though. I mean, he gets like 20 bunt hits a year. I mean, it's kind of easy to get that batting average up.
Well, maybe so. It could be Will Myers. What did you say again? Not to get off track. We're gonna read the rest of Michael Ruff, but I'm curious. What did you say again? You said you said what again?
Will Myers would have a higher OPS than Spencer Steer. That's what you missed. I'll live it.
Oh, that's funny stuff, man. That's good.
You win some, you lose some.
Oh, all right. We have 95 people in here. That means you're loyal to the show. I have a genuine ask. I know this is a big ask. Genuine ask. We're gonna create. Nick doesn't even know this yet, but we're gonna create a opener to this show that we're gonna be super proud about. As a part of that, I want you guys to send me clips. And if you don't know how to clip it, that's fine. Just send me the time in the date of when the clip starts in the video, and I'll dig it up, I'll clip it, I'll put it in the opener. I want your favorite moment and or a couple moments of the entirety of last year. I know that's a lot, but you got time on your hands. You can be like, when did he say that? And you can start go digging back there, and you can find it. I believe that you can do it. I want all of you to send me in, or send me a DM, or send me a Twitter message, however you want to do it. I'll put my email right here. I'll put my email. Now, this might be wild. Please don't spam me. I'm going to do it. You email me if you find something you love. DM me. However you need to do it, you do it. But we're going to make an unbelievable, epic montage of last season. And sometimes you forget things. And all of you can help me find all of those great moments that existed. And they could be small things that you thought were funny that you just don't think that we would put in there. Leave it at that. All right, back to Michael's question. Best ERA for a Red. This can't include relievers.
Yeah, it's got to be a starter. Yeah, that's probably Alexis Diaz. It's pretty.
Maybe.
I feel like the easy answer is Andrew Abbott, but I think it's going to be Hunter Green. I think Hunter Green. I think this is the year he takes that big leap. Hunter Green gets Cy Young votes next year.
What?
That's not hard to get Cy Young votes.
Graham Ashcraft.
Oh, okay. That's a good one too.
I don't feel great about it.
I want to say Hunter Green will be an all-star, but he's been a slow starter, so that it's just so hard if you have two bad starts at the beginning of the year. But I think he'll get Cy Young votes next year.
All right, last thing he says, two positions you think the Reds are most likely for the Reds to address this offseason. Sorry, I had to read it exactly because if you don't, you start butchering it. So basically, two positions you think they're going to address. Well, they're going to address starting pitching. I don't know if that's a position. And I do think they'll get an infielder because they're going to trade an infielder.
Yeah, I agree starting pitching, and then I think they're going to get a outfield first base DH type. Like if it's a Soler or a Candelario, I think it's just going to be whatever they feel like is the best value they can get, because that's what Spencer Steer's the reason you have that flexibility. Spencer Steer's the reason you can either go get an outfielder or you can go get a first baseman, because Spencer Steer can play first base or he can play the outfield. He kind of gives you that flexibility, and that's what just makes him so valuable to this team.
Yeah. All right.
I really want Soler though. I feel like he could just take the Reds offense to another level.
Jorge Soler. We'll see. We'll find out. All right, everybody. We have to go, which means one thing. Tomorrow, there is a golf match that will exist. We're going to put that live on the air at 10 a.m. tomorrow. For those that watch Off the Bench, you will be instead blessed with a golf match. Now, I'm going to let you know. We are bleeping out some parts of it, and it's not a kid's show, okay? I'm probably going to have to do a disclaimer. at the beginning of the video and just say, hey, this isn't a kid's show.
Oh, wow.
Just saying. But I do think it's one of the funnier videos that we've done. I do think it's elite content. It's just not a kid's show. So until then, I will see you tomorrow in the chat for Off the Bench, which is 10 a.m. if you have any interest, because I'm going to sit there and have fun with people when the live video premiere plays of Elliott trying to hit golf balls, which is honestly pretty funny. So until next time, Nick, you got anything left to add before we take off into the nights?
No,
Not
happy
really,
Thanksgiving. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate everyone who supports our show, man. This has been a lot of fun, and we'll be back soon.
We will. And I got some big news to tell you. This rock trailer, outro, and intro, the music we've used, I seen the other day they tried to hit us up with somebody's claiming this music. They ain't claiming this music. They ain't claiming this music. I'll fix my mic stand by the next time we come on too, okay? Get off my case. Craig, shoo. I also got to figure out this trailer. Because if we can't use this music, it's going to be devastating. We'll figure it out. Just want to let you know that we love y'all. It's ridiculous that you come in here and you join us in the mass numbers that you do. But, as always, go Reds. See you next time. Much love to all you, and happy Thanksgiving.